Hey friend, welcome to Grounded, the Vestibular podcast. I'm Dr. Madison Oak, aka the Vertigo Doctor. I am the vestibular physical therapist who is here to help you with all things dizziness, imbalance, and vertigo. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of vestibular disorders. Come with me as we dive headfirst into a journey to discover the mysteries of the brain, the inner ear, and the balance mechanisms that keep us grounded. Whether you've been managing dizziness for one day or 25 years, we're going to get real about what it takes to manage dizziness, handle the anxiety cycle, and thrive, not just survive, with your vestibular disorder. First, I want to remind you that this is never medical advice. Remember, this podcast is for informational purposes only and may not be the best fit for you and your personal situation. It shall not be construed as medical advice. The information and education provided here is not intended or implied to supplement or replace professional medical treatment, advice, and or diagnosis. Always check with your own physician, medical professionals, and healthcare team before trying or implementing any information found here. Hello and welcome back to Grounded, the Vestibular podcast. My name is Madison, and I want to read you the win of the week this week. This week's win of the week is from Jane. Jane says, with the support of VGF, or Vestibular Group Fit, 2024 was a year of successfully enjoying and fully being a part of 2 weddings for both of our daughters and a trip to Mexico. I needed a way to declare 2025 as a continuation of that trend, so on January 1st, I did the polar bear dip. I'm in Canada, and I loved it. I absolutely love this win for many, many reasons, but one of them, honestly, is the fact that she had such a successful 2024. She posted so many wins, and I want to read you one about Jane that she posted kind of in the beginning of her journey, and then further down after she had some success. So she was diagnosed with Meniere's type syndrome after she developed vestibular neuritis 22 years ago. And since then, she's been having a lot of time to think about and kind of struggle through symptoms of vestibular migraine, potentially Meniere's disease, and kind of what is going on with her personally. So her story is, hi, I'm a new member, but longtime vestibular warrior. In 2002, I contracted mono, and during the acute sore throat phase, the virus attacked my inner ears. As time went on, it became more clearly episodic events like ear pressure, increased tinnitus, and then with relief of the pressure with loss of balance and severe spinning, vertigo, and nausea. I was diagnosed with Meniere's disease type syndrome secondary to a systemic virus. However, during the testing and diagnosis, it was apparent that I always had some level of vestibular dysfunction and visual vestibular mismatch. I learned at 45 that this was not simply a physically timid and awkward person prone to anxiety attacks. It was all actually related to my vestibular issues. When I explained this to my mom, she recounted that when I was an infant, she had to put away her favorite dress because I would vomit on her after nursing if she was wearing it. I am here because all I want to do is enjoy my life. I had some real wins last year, and both of my daughters are going to marry this summer, and I fully want to participate in my version of that. So that was January 4th, 2024. I absolutely love this story. Because then in June, I think her first daughter gets married. She asked us a lot of questions, which is fantastic. Everyone in Vestibular Group Fit, if you are a member, you should be asking questions all the time. In May, she had a conversation with a friend and was smiling to herself because she moved her head really quickly and had a lurch and found herself saying dizzy and continued with the conversation without missing a beat and doing nothing else because she was like, oh, actually, I'm fine, which I absolutely adore. Then in June, she said, just a little word of encouragement to those at the beginning of their vestibular journey. I am a few decades in and doing VGF because I need to recalibrate at different stages of life. If you can find at least one place, one activity that is your happy place where you feel like your old self, then try and prioritize it. Try and keep enjoying it. Swimming in the ocean is it for me. Had to give up many other things during Meniere's, but this makes me feel whole. I hope you can find one or better yet, many things that bring you joy. Absolutely love that. Then in July, sharing a win, and it's not Saturday, but it's too good to wait. I joined VGF back in January because I wanted to be my best for both daughters' weddings. First was a week-long family camp get-together culminating in a wedding on Saturday. So she camped for a whole week and then had a wedding on Saturday. She managed numerous large number camp meals, walking across a field, provided an English afternoon tea for the crowd, hiked a steep hill on a beach/lake area. On Saturday, had a beautiful outdoor ceremony and a reception under an open-walled tent. I handled the hot weather, gave a speech, and I danced. 3 dances on my feet, and then I pulled a chair into the dance area and adapted it for some. I'm so happy. Even the day after, my husband and I drove out to the west coast of the island and tent camped on the beach, which I haven't done in years. Early morning, in the tent, I had some vertigo, but got through it. And a couple hours later, I managed to walk on the very open, very windy beach, and then 11 hours of passenger travel, mostly on gravel logging roads back home. We are pretty tired today, but oh so thrilled. Thank you, VGF. I can feel the progress. And I also know that she went to her other daughter's wedding as well. She had a very successful 2024, and I know that she's looking forward to more of it in 2025. Obviously, I'm obsessed with this one. I wanted to tell you the whole backstory because where she started and where she is now are two very, very different places. And from chronically dizzy, frustrated, not really knowing what's going on, to being able to figure out, like, okay, these are the things that make me feel good. These are the things that I can prioritize. And this is how I'm going to get through X, Y, and Z. She did it. She met all of her goals in 2024. And I have no doubt she will do more in 2025. We are going to be having a sale on Vestibular Group Fit on March 7th, 8th, and 9th. So if you are looking to join at a discount for your first subscription cycle, please, please, please wait until next weekend. After this comes out, again, March 7th, 8th, and 9th, and we will get you the code. It'll be on Instagram as well as your email if you are on my mailing list. So look forward to that. That in and of itself could have been this whole entire episode, but I do have some tips and tricks for springing into action, if you will, because it is the end of February, which means it's still very much the winter here, but spring is coming. And because spring is coming, we want everyone to know the things to do in the springtime that will help you prepare for summer. I know springtime's a weird time where you're like, am I doing outside things yet? Am I not doing? I don't know. For me, we're still skiing. For you, who knows what you're doing? If you live in California, it's probably still warm. I don't know. But for the people who live in states where it gets cold and then hot again, like me, here are some things to do to prepare. And also, like, if you live in Florida and you're like, it's cool outside right now and it's going to get hot, when it's cool outside is the time to prepare for when it gets hot. So let's talk about it. So spring offers a great opportunity to ease back into movement and activities before the heat of the summer sets in. And cooler weather is often or almost always more tolerable for people managing vestibular disorders because heat can be a trigger. As heat can sometimes exacerbate symptoms like dizziness, fatigue, any nausea, anything like that, we of course don't want to trigger those when we're trying to do new activities. So if you're like, hey, I've been looking to get into more walking or running or jogging or biking, this is the time to start. Starting now gives your body time to fully adapt to gradually more heat. So when summer arrives, you will feel stronger, more balanced, and ready to enjoy the season. I'm not talking about just practicing walking or just practicing running or just practicing being by your bike. I'm talking about practicing all the basics that we talk about in Vestibular Group Fit. So you want to be eating right, hydrating, exercising, strength training, moving your body throughout the day. You want to be doing all of these different things in order to get to a place where your baseline is really solid and your bucket is bigger. Again, we're always striving for a larger bucket. Here are a few activities that can get you started to prepare for summer. And we will do more summer stuff at the end of May as well. So look out for that episode. So walking, start with short walks on flat surfaces and gradually increase your distance to terrain and difficulty. If you've been inside generally for most of winter, and even if you've been walking on a treadmill successfully, There are so many other stimulating factors when you're outside than when you are inside. And so if you're looking to return to walking distances or just walking outside in general rather than on your treadmill, I highly, highly, highly recommend not starting going for the same distance you'd go on your treadmill outside. Don't do it. Start with 3 to 5 minutes, maybe once around your block, and then increase from there. Cycling, same thing. If you are either comfortable or uncomfortable on a bike, here are the steps to biking. First, look at your bike. Does looking at your bike increase your anxiety, increase any of your symptoms, your dizziness, any of those things? If so, learn to regulate your nervous system near the bike. Then walk around with your bike. Remember how it moves. Remember how it tilts. Remember how it goes different directions, all of the things. Don't get on it yet. Then either find a upright stationary bike or one of those bike trainer things that you might have and just sit on it. Sit in that weird position of biking. Strengthen your neck, strengthen your glutes, strengthen your quads. Make sure that you have been strengthening all winter long. And if you haven't, start today. In Vestibular Group Fit, we have strength training programs for this exact reason, because you need to be strong in order to do these other things. So then after that, after you're like, okay, I feel comfortable sitting on the bike, maybe you start exerting yourself on said trainer or stationary bike. And then after that, same thing as a treadmill. What you do inside does not replicate to the outside world. So whatever you're doing inside, for example, I can ride for 15 minutes inside before I feel dizzy. You can probably ride for 3 to 5 minutes outside. So start low, go slow. Starting slow is your friend. Loving some outdoor Tai Chi moments. I know there's so much Tai Chi in Vestibular Group Fit that Dr. Jenna teaches, so I highly recommend practicing indoor before you go outside. And then gardening. We all love to garden, and I know that starts in the spring for most people, unless you've been already kind of gardening in your garage. But even so, outside skills don't necessarily transfer to, inside skills don't necessarily transfer to outside skills, right? We've talked about this. So make sure that you are doing deadlifts, can bend over, can get on and off the ground easily, have good quad strength, glute strength, back strength, and core strength. Make sure you can carry things without feeling dizzy. Again, making sure those deadlifts are on point so you can bend over and do things. Again, this is where strength training and Vestibular Group Fit strength comes into play, because yes, it does matter. And yes, you can get there, but it is going to absolutely positively need to be with intentional movement. So practicing those skills inside now in order to get you outside more as spring goes on, which is why we have this episode now, not later. And then as we prepare for summer activities, it's just going to get hotter. So you need to practice the things in an easier climate in order for it to not be as difficult when it gets so hot. So a lot of people are like, well, I can do this thing and I know that I can do it, so I'm just going to go when it's hot and it'll be fine. And I honestly wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend working your way up to the heat as well. Some people have access to sauna, whether it's a sauna bag, sauna at your gym or whatever. But I highly recommend having access to sauna if you live in a really hot place that's currently pretty cool. Because if you live in a hot place that's currently not hot, and then you just go outside all of a sudden when it's 95 degrees and 100% humidity, like, hello, I'm talking to you, my people in the South. That's probably not going to go so well. So practicing with a sauna is a good idea if you can. Of course, if you join Vestibular Group Fit now or at our sale next week, you will be more prepared than you ever have been. And that was really my point of reading you this win from Jane today, because Jane really goes to show that this is not an overnight success situation. It's not like you can join Vestibular Group Fit on June 1st and on June 2nd, you're going to be totally fine for summer. Like, you have to start practicing and preparing for these things now to have a successful summer. I also know from the pattern of Vestibular Group Fit that people don't like to do this in the summer. People prefer to do this in the fall or the new year, sometimes in the spring. But I am telling you, if you start now, we have statistics to show that in the first 45 days, people start to have a better mindset, a better relationship with their symptoms when they actually do the things than they did previously. And by 90 days, they are feeling so much better. Their DHI scores go down, which I'm sure you've taken a DHI if you've ever been to the doctor for dizziness. It's the dizziness handicap inventory. It asks you 20 questions about dizziness, 25 questions maybe. And it gives you a score. Everyone's DHI goes down in vestibular group fit. So you get less dizzy, you get more functional, you get less fear. And that's really what we are going for. You want to start now by gradually exposing yourself to triggers. So think of all those things you might do in the summer. Am I going to go on a boat? Am I going to go on a hike? Am I going to go biking? Am I going to go walking, running, skating? Like, what am I going to do? What are my goals for the summer? And maybe not every single one of those is a goal, right? Like, I know every single one of those isn't a goal for me, but what are the things that I want to do and how do I train for them now in order to be successful later? That is what you're going for. Gradually exposing yourself to brighter sunlight, bigger open, more open spaces, spending short periods of time in environments. Like if you are like, I spend a lot of time at the water park, for example. Okay, can you go there in the winter and just stand there, or can you stand outside? Can you find a place that sort of looks like that? That is really what you are going for. Really getting down and like nailing your hydration and nutrition. This matters so much generally, but especially in the summer. You need to nail down your hydration and you need to nail down your nutrition. Most people think they have these things nailed down and then they get a continuous glucose monitor and realize they definitely don't. So this is something that is absolutely positively endlessly essential. And I highly recommend that you kind of figure out what works for you and your body, because eating anti-inflammatory foods, make sure your blood sugar is balanced, introducing an electrolyte, making sure that you're drinking enough water, tracking all these things. It's easier to do it in the spring when maybe things aren't as crazy as the summer and starting now than it is to do in the summer. And then, of course, my favorite thing to talk about, which is strengthening your core and your muscles. You need to be strong. It helps reduce fatigue. It helps balance your blood sugar. It helps give place for glucose and insulin to go. It helps your body have fewer vestibular attacks. Yes, truly, people who exercise are less dizzy than people who do not. Just across the board, there are so many things to consider when it comes to this. One more thing that I do want to mention is getting your house tested for mold. During the spring and winter, houses are less humid. I know my house today, this morning, was 18% humidity. That is so low. 18%. Anything above 55, that's when mold grows. And so you want to make sure of testing your house for mold, not with an air test, with an ERMI, E-R-M-I. You can get it through PJ Harlow, who I love. And I would highly recommend getting this done now to make sure that either nothing is going on, or if something is going on, it's not going to grow and get worse in the summer/fall when it tends to get humid for people. So definitely thinking about that. Starting now means that you have time to prepare your body, your mind, your emotions, all of the things for activities that you want to enjoy in the warmer summer months. It's all about really stepwise, gradual progress with small, consistent steps that add up to bigger changes over time. So if you've been waiting for the right time to prioritize your health, get back into shape maybe, gain some muscle, spring is that moment, truly, where things kind of maybe settle down a little bit. The holidays are over. We're kind of getting in the swing of things of 2025. It's not summer yet. School's not out yet. This is your time to shine. Take advantage of the cooler weather, start exploring activities that bring you joy, and consider, of course, joining Vestibular Group Fit next weekend on March 7th, 8th, and 9th for a discount. Remember, you're going to look for that code on Instagram and via email. It's going to give you a structured, supportive approach to vestibular-friendly wellness. We're talking exercise, we're talking mindset, we're talking meditation, we're talking getting internal with somatics, we're talking breathing schedules and hydration, nutrition, sleep, all of the things that you need in order to feel your best in your body, no matter who you are, but especially if you have a vestibular disorder. So commit to yourself and your goals. February is not too late to start. Don't wait until January 1st of next year. January 19th is, or maybe January 9th actually, is International Quitting Day. That's as long as people's resolutions last. I don't want this to be a resolution. I don't want this to be like, today I've decided to change my whole life. It doesn't work. There's a reason that 9 days into the year, there's an International Quitting Day. There's a reason, because having a resolution for 99% of people does not work. But what does work for everyone is a really structured, but also at the same time, it's a little bit do-it-yourself, small, steady, consistent steps in the right direction every day, being just a little bit better, figuring out one little more thing every day, week, month, what have you. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I love you, and I will see you next time on Grounded. Don't forget about our sale.